Have you ever felt like your life was designed by someone else? Like every breath, every move, every word was written inside someone else's policy manual? That was me. That was me. Until the day I stopped being their number and became their undoing. If you've ever had a boss who stole your work or made you feel invisible, hit that like button right now. Because this is how I ended a man's career with nothing but silence and a signature. For almost 7 years, I worked as an efficiency consultant at a regulatory firm in Mexico City. It sounded important, like I was improving the world. But in reality, I was just a number on a spreadsheet fixing other people's mistakes. Every morning, I'd walk through glass doors that never opened fast enough. Fluorescent lights, fake smiles, the smell of burnt coffee, and that polite, suffocating word, professionalism. And then there was Mateo, my boss. Perfect suit, perfect teeth, and a heart that could freeze the room even in summer. He'd stand over my desk and say, "Miss Sophia, make sure the numbers are correct this time," as if I hadn't been carrying his entire department for years. The breaking point came during a board meeting. We were presenting the project I had built, months of sleepless nights, data, graphs, analysis, all mine. Mateo smiled at me once before the meeting started, and then he opened my presentation. He read my words, line for line, even pausing exactly where my notes had breaks. He looked brilliant, and I sat there, invisible. When the director congratulated him, he said, "She helped with the data cleaning." Data cleaning, that's what my work, my effort, my worth had become. I smiled politely, and in that moment, something inside me quietly broke. That night, I stayed late at the office. Everyone had gone home. Just me, the hum of the servers, and the glow of my screen. I started looking through the company's shared files, not out of curiosity, out of instinct. Every document, every policy, they all started to look different, like a code I was meant to break. Somewhere inside that sea of bureaucracy, I knew there had to be a door, and I was going to find it. Days turned into nights. Under the excuse of process review, I read everything. Contracts, regulations, old compliance manuals. Until one evening, buried in a 2014 licensing agreement, I found it. Looked meaningless, one sentence lost in 10 pages of jargon. But the more I read, the clearer it became. If activated internally, it would suspend the company's regulatory license until a full executive audit was completed. No warning, no override. It was, in essence, a self-destruct button. For weeks, I planned in silence. While Mateo bragged about dinners with the higher-ups, I quietly rewrote history, one spreadsheet, one email at a time. Every edit I made left a trail that looked innocent. Every signature I placed looked routine. If anyone ever checked, they'd only see a loyal employee doing her job. The morning of the audit arrived. I came in early, too early. The office was empty. I logged in, opened the internal portal, and there it was, Clause 7C, buried deep in the code. My cursor hovered over the checkbox. I didn't even blink. Then I typed one short line, "License terminated by self-initiation, pending executive review," and pressed enter. By noon, small errors started appearing. At 1 p.m., servers lagged. By 2 p.m., the compliance systems went dark. Panic spread like smoke. Mateo barked orders, blaming everyone. By 3 p.m., the CEO had called an emergency meeting. I sat quietly at the end of the table. My heart was calm. When I pulled the access logs, every authorization, every file change was under Mateo's ID. His arrogance had sealed his fate. Sometimes people ask me, "Sophia, why did you do it?" I tell them the truth. It wasn't revenge. It was balance. A correction of a system that forgot people are not numbers. That day, I finally stopped living inside someone else's spreadsheet. I breathed. I felt the world again. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel small. This wasn't vengeance. This was mathematics. The quiet return to zero. And in that silence, I found freedom. If you've ever had someone steal your work, take your effort, and call it their own, then you know what this feels like. Drop a comment below. What would your Clause 7C be? And don't forget to subscribe, and stay for more stories of calm, poetic justice. Because sometimes the sweetest revenge is silence.